Yeah, and he just got scouted. So
the black player's been scouted. That's very useful intel to have at 1 minute 30. So very important going for that first air. They've also scouted over the area where one of us died. There's a wreckage which is going to be available to them, which is pretty easy to take. I think in this game you have to get rid of all of your normal premises for playing this game. Your entire game is totally changed. The #1 priority for Team Blue is get air fabbers and start colonizing. So both the blue players can move on to the other island and start getting stuff on there and making things uncomfortable for black, and that should be their absolute #1 priority.
yep, so blue has now scouted both of black players' bases. They have complete information as to where they are, and black is building that ping location. They're building the bot factory,
Yep.
and then at the other location they're quickly rushing a air factory, and I think it's a good move to get that air going. However, something that they might want to consider doing in this situation, build teleporters. They're only 1,500, and they would give themselves an opportunity to both reinforce and have a commander escape if they get in trouble. So I think that would be pretty useful.
That's a good point. Very good point.
Now they have the ability to just kind of defend from at a tier 1 stage over on this island with the blue players. They can just put up some tier 1 towers, and it should be they should be in pretty good shape because it's going to be hard for them to assault for a while. So they might want to just rush tier 2 on this island. Speaking of rushing tier 2, an orbital factory and a advanced vehicle factory being placed by the light blue player near the South Pole.
No way.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Orbital.
I'm a little surprised by the orbital.
What are they going to do with orbital?
There are several things they can do. One thing that I've seen players inside Uber do is they'll use the orbital fabbers as super heavy-duty fabbers that can help from above. So they'll, orbital fabbers fabricate at 40 metal per second. So
4 times a T1 engineer.
Yeah, it's like having 4 of those T1s. Second one is they provide
confrontation happening here. I have to interrupt. There's a scamper moving in towards the middle mechs on the worst island, and if he comes in here and gets a win, this will be quite a loss. Blowing them down with that engineer kind of shows the advantage of getting a single laser turret. He does move the engineer in time, but he still gets taken out, and the scampers are going to finish him off. And it does get pinged there by Team Black. So it's pretty important for Team Blue to make sure they capture those mechs. That's a really important mech that they have available to them. And
that is a very important
spot. Got to start moving onto this other island.
Now they've got their next fabricator coming out of that same proxy base, and that's good. Anyway, we're talking about the orbital orbital does several things for you. One is you can get great undetected radar very easily with orbital. So you get that orbital up there, and you can just move it out of their base, and you don't only get just blips, you get vision. So I think that's something that people kind of overlook. And the first orbital radar that you can build right out of the factory is actually pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Second one is the ability to build the orbital fabricators and move in build power around the map very quickly. And then you don't really need them for I don't think they're really the best way to go for either transports, but you can pin them down. And SXX is a very expensive route, but you can use it as a surprise attack.
Having a look at Team Blue, they've actually dropped a air fabber and a bot factory on the very northern peninsula of, on the eastern peninsula of Black's Island. And there's a bomber there to kill this engineer, which will probably happen very soon. Bomber does rise to take care of him. I'm not going to build any more mechs on his watch. So they're already beginning to land. Having a look, the T2 factory is finished. Immediately going for vanguards already. Not even access to the T2 Eco yet. Going to get those vanguards up and move them along and start assaulting Black space. Black also moving forwards with T1 units now. Just been pinged by Team Blue. They have seen that. And the orbital factory is nearly finished as well. 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through now. And having a look at Team Black, they've gone for T2 Air, which is pretty unsurprising. Air is going to be absolutely critical on this planet. I think one thing that Blue really should have been doing is they should have been prioritising more dropping on that planet. They should have multiple bot factories being dropped on that planet, so that if one goes down, they still have a foot on the island.
Yeah, and Blue, caught off in the corner here by the Black base. They have built a nice wall and a tower behind it. They're going to clean up all this assaulting that's going on there, and that's going to keep the enemy at bay for just a little bit. However, and they don't have any vanguards here, so that's not really an issue. I feel like they've made a mistake here on this choke point through the middle of that long kind of U-shaped continent, in that they're building the metal extractors here, and they have no defense now. Like there's tanks just outside. They can just roll in and kill everything. And I feel like they've kind of failed to defend these important metal extractors. Now they've got vanguards coming in, so maybe I can take that back, and what that one vanguard can easily kill those 9 incoming tanks.
With correct
really all of
micro,
them.
though, with correct micro, they can actually defeat that vanguard.
They can defeat the vanguard, but they're gonna have to run away. Like, he can really block them out. And here comes the tower and the walls. To go ahead and just take a look from their perspective. Yeah, they see the blips coming in, and so they're able to take action early on that one. They did finish one of those towers, and they're working on the second one. Second tower is not behind the wall, and neither are the fabricators, so...
Oh, this is going to be painful. They're going to come in pretty close. Might take care of those engineers. Oh, well,
yep.
one's going to go down.
They're actually going to turn those guys in. Turns those guys in, and of course the tower goes into play. Yeah. Walls are a great move here, and they get a chance to finish that tower. The vanguard moving in. Now there's a set of Black units coming down to where the Blue commander is. I think he's just going to Ubercan him here in a second. Take care of everything. Doesn't seem that threatened. Tier 2, advanced vehicle factory is done for Black, where they've been sending out all their armies from anyway, and he's cranking out some units as well. Just got their advanced Faber.
This has been built from the orbital factory, and now going for that advanced Faber, as he said. But looking at the eco, Black is really pulling ahead. I agree, Black maybe had an advantage. Maybe we shouldn't do this game in the next round, but I feel they didn't go about it with the right strategy, and really the strategy should have been get onto that other island and drop multiple things down. Not only are you going to completely disrupt them from taking all of that metal, but you're going to be able to fight for it yourself. And I feel like maybe
I think they had. Look at how far Black has had to spread out in order to take over that territory. And they had the idea of getting out onto those peninsulas and like doing some assaulting, but they just didn't really follow through with it. I think it was represents some choices that didn't really come to fruition here, rather than a complete inability to execute, or it wasn't there was a lack of opportunity. There was just a lack of actually doing it.
I feel really. They could have defended against the Black player on their island purely by using turrets, because you can in this batch, and they should have been going heavy air, 2 or 3 air factories at least each, sending multiple Fabers over, building multiple factories, and building ground units on that island. Not only would they be able to capture some of that metal for themselves, they would have totally disrupted Black from taking that metal. And I just feel like the strategy they went with going into this is what's really cost them.
The other thing that happened here is that they built only Tier 2 fighting units. They didn't. Well, I guess they have some Tier 2 other units, but these Kestrels are just going to take this commander down, I think.
Yeah.
We're a little distracted with that flak is going up, and it goes down.
Nice save on the flak as well.
Yeah, they know they're too far behind now, and this commander's going to die.
GG's.
They're just... Yeah, really, expansion was the key here, and they just didn't expand. They let themselves get bottled up in all these corners, and then they failed to cross. You know, they can have a air fabber across the water on these peninsulas within a minute or two of the game starting, and they just didn't. And
I think if you have a look at the large island, Black hasn't invested in anything. He hasn't got any land units. He hasn't had to defend. So all of his resources have gone into building up his eco.
And but realistically, that's so they were building that Astraeus to drop a. It looks like they were building it to drop a Vanguard in there, huh?
That's interesting.
So it seems a little fragile. Like any shot will take it out.
Yeah, if you're not near air units, you might be able to drop it down, but if there's one air unit there, it takes 2 shots from a T1 fighter, so they are pretty easy to take down.
Their Black's near to the border complete. Yeah, I think they just should have hopped across and then applied some pressure. And it doesn't mean they were going to win, but it means that they had an opportunity to take. Oh wow, that Vanguard dropped right by the commander and is actually going to kill him.
Oh my god. What a snipe. What a snipe.
That was kind of amazing.
That was
so
insane.
Both teams commander down, right? You know, if they pull off those shenanigans again, that would be they could pull a win out. Now there's a flak turret right next to the other commander.
Come on, guys! Everyone is rooting for the underdogs. We have another Astraeus being built from the orbital launcher. Team Black, unfortunately, they have a lot of flak cannons there. I don't think you're going to be able to drop.
There's like 0 chance of this working again. I mean, even if they didn't already have the flak there, they certainly would after that, right? So, yeah, unless they have, you know, a tier 2 air to bring in many of those via Pelican, I don't think they're going to make it.
Chat is loving that Vanguard drop. Chat is loving it. I don't blame you, that was pretty epic. Especially, it shows you the power of the Vanguard. You only need one to kill a commander, that's all you need.
Yep. Oh, Black Vanguard almost made it in and killed their commander. He's very low, getting some repairs, but I think that, they actually lost their nuke that they were building when that commander died. Yeah. Nice job. Delay of game, 10-yard penalty, etc. This next round of tanks is just going to kill that commander.
Onyxia makes a very good point in chat that the Astraeus and Vanguard is the new laser satellite, and if you look at the cost, Astraeus and Vanguard is a whole load cheaper.
Yeah, you can also do the same thing with a Pelican. A Pelican costs like 35 or something. It's almost nothing. I mean, you need an advanced.
The Pelican's going to have to get through quite a lot to get there, but an Astraeus kind of just has to drop down immediately from above them.
That's true.
More of a surprise.
And you can do it with you can do it with 5 Vanguards and Pelicans, a few fighters, right? Like
we have a Vanguard on its way. We have a Vanguard on its way from the South Pole, and it's a little bit close because this commander is kind of screwed. There's T2 air right next to him, T2 units coming in as well, and unfortunately the Astraeus travel speed is pretty slow. We can see it slowly winging its way over the lava here. I don't think it's going to be able to make it in time.
No, I don't.
And they're coming in for the kill.
And even if he does, as soon as he gets down there, he's gonna. Oh, actually, the Vanguard just drops out, right?
I'm pretty sure the Astraeus has to go down to the ground level where it can get shot for about a second, and then it gets dropped out.
Well, that's it. That's the elimination of superouman and WPMarshall.